Well, hello there, everybody. I thought I would just send out this quick vlog on latest news and things going on with Brexit, and again, just give you my opinion because I think there is so much confusion and information out there at the moment that is filling people's minds. Outside the country more so, in my view. I mean, I think inside the country there people, in my view, have made their decisions. Some have changed their minds, some feel they've been misinformed by their MP or the government or some other member of parliament or whoever, and they think that there's a process that needs to be changed here. Some think there needs to be another referendum. Some think we just need to crash out of the EU. There are so many opinions out there, but those opinions were there 2 years ago. They were there before this whole process started, really. And people have also started waking up to politicians as to what they really are. And quite honestly, politicians have been like this for the last few decades. Yeah, they have been, really. And that's what they're like throughout the world. A politician is always going to tell you what he thinks you want to hear or what he thinks you should hear. Not necessarily what the truth is. And that's a fact. That's the breed. That's what happens. And it's also important to note that the media feed on the frenzy, because that pays their salaries, that gives them their revenue. The more views they can create, the more interest they can get, the more hits, or the more newspapers they sell, obviously the more revenues they make. So it's very, very important to understand this. For the media, Brexit is fantastic because it's filling the newspapers and putting crazy stories on the front pages every other day. It's making us angry, or it's making us confused, or it's making us where we've got to go and read the newspaper again, or we're going to turn on the box again, or we're going to find it on our laptops or mobiles, smartphones. So I just want to calm us all down a little bit, in my opinion, because it really is rubbish what I'm hearing. Look, some will like it and some won't like it in terms of what I'm going to say. But we had a referendum. We had a referendum because the government and previous governments before the current, the Tory government, could not make a decision in terms of the right road to go down with the EU, in terms of trying to reform it. And you don't reform the EU, quite honestly, in its current cultural state. It doesn't happen. So when you think you can change it from within, no. Well, we are changing it. By taking the position we are changing it. And our position will encourage other EU members to look at themselves and look at what they need to do as well. So we are changing it. We're not changing it from within, we are changing it on the outside. Agreed, but you can't change it. You can't be a member of the club and go through a process of trying to change things in that process. It's the club wants to go in a certain direction, and we don't want to go in that direction. So why stay in a club that doesn't meet the needs of what we want to do? Yeah, it's got some very good factors, but it's got a lot of very bad factors, and we don't want those. And that's why we've called to leave. Now, all the news and things that went on in when politicians were forming their positions, like all this nonsense that went on the side of the red bus, etc. Well, it was not people who voted by what they saw on the side of a red bus. Those who saw the red bus, I mean, well, I just don't believe that. I don't believe people voted on that basis. And if they felt that's what made them vote, well, yeah, then they should change their mind. But the actual sign on the side of the red bus as well, that all this palaver was going on about, really didn't say we're going to take all. It didn't say we're going to take all the money that we were going to give to the revenue to the EU and give it all to the NHS. We didn't actually say that on the side of the red bus. What we said was that some money could go to the NHS. That's basically what it said, and we can pull it up and I can show you the picture of that. Now, here it is. But what people have the right to change their minds. Of course they do. Of course they do. But they're not, to change our democracy in how we've made our position clear on voting, to leave the EU first of all, to try and stop that process happening by saying we think it's wrong, is crazy. The reason we've got so much negative influence that's making people think, well, this is the wrong route, is because all the people in controlling positions are all Remainers. Quite honestly, most of the cabinet are Remainers. Most of the cabinet are Remainers. And most of Parliament are probably Remainers. Because it makes it easy for them. Because they don't have to make so many decisions. They don't have to do as much work. Because all the decisions are being taken by the EU. As far as making proposals for law and changes going on in terms of our courts across the land. So, it's too much work. And so I can see why some people would rather stay in the EU, because it's going to be a lot more work for people to do in administration, in government, when it comes to being just the UK standing on its own. I can understand that. But I think that's what this process was all about. It was about our sovereignty. It was about being able to make our own rules. It wasn't really about immigration, I don't think. It certainly wasn't about issues of free trade or not. And look, when it comes to free trade, well, we can decide what we want to do. We don't have to have tariffs with any country from Europe if we don't want to. We don't have to. If they want to put tariffs on our side, well, that's up to them, but we certainly don't have to do that. So we can make life as easy or as difficult as we want it to be. But I think we must just stop getting sucked into the fact that politicians have all been lying to us. They've always been lying to us. That's nothing new. They've always been lying to us, folks. That's what they do. That's what they're there for, to lie to us. But what is very important, we get tied up with all this, we're going to lose business, we're going to lose revenues, we're going to lose trading agreements, no, we're not. Because politicians don't tell business who they can and who they can't trade with. I've never ever been guided by a politician as to who I can do business with throughout the world. Throughout the world, wherever I've been in the world, if I've needed to go and trade in a different country because I've needed something in that country, a product or a service, I've gone to that country and I've done the deal with the people who provide that service or that product. I don't go to the politicians. Politicians have got to provide the service of administering the legislation to ensure we can make that relationship easier. Yes, but we don't get that in place first and then start trading. We trade with who we feel we have to trade, and the politicians then have to follow us, and they have to make sure that they can make it as seamless as they possibly can from their point of view. Usually they don't. Let me say, usually they can't. We have significant issues with trading with countries in the EU still, and in some cases we have more seamless arrangements with countries that we trade with outside the EU. So all this absolute nonsense about we are going to be worse off is crazy. Now, I just want people to understand that, because it's my opinion. Yes, of course it is. But I'm not Nigel. I'm certainly not a Nigel Farage follower or a Boris Johnson follower. I'm just Simon Mathers sitting in Chesterfield, who's also lived and worked in Kuwait, UAE, Poland, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, China, the Philippines, most of Southeast Asia, and also where I've traded into the United States and countries in North Africa. So please don't tell me it will all go wrong. It can't go wrong. It won't go wrong, because people in business won't let it go wrong. Businesses who make the statement that it's all going to be doom and gloom are businesses which are too lazy to get off their backsides and make it happen. It's become they're in a comfort zone. But speak to those businesses that are the entrepreneurial type. Speak to the James Dysons of the world, who go out there and make it happen. Now, he's investing a huge amount of money in the UK. Yes, he's investing in factories in other parts of the world as well, but he's investing a fortune in the UK because he believes in the UK. I believe in the UK. I'm a UK citizen. I'm English, and I'm also a UK citizen. And I welcome expertise, skills, people from other parts of the world to come in and be part of our great country as well. Absolutely. But I don't need politicians to tell me what I think we can do and what we can't do. And I think we must stop thinking about it that way. And this rubbish, it's just repetitive stuff that is going on. And people saying, "Oh well, you know, if we don't get a deal, we'll have to cancel this whole arrangement." I mean, what is the EU thinking of us? Well, they think we're stupid. Of course they do. We know we're not. We know we're not stupid. The politicians, yes, I think some of them are stupid. I think some of them are very stupid, including our Prime Minister, quite honestly. But you know, I can't say that the opposition is any better. There is nobody out there in the ranks and files of our political parties that I could honestly say I could vote for in the next election. There is nobody there. There's nobody there I could say I could put my X in the box for, because I don't think any of them have got it right at all. They're all playing for their political positions. That's all. They're thinking about that next election, or how we make this work, or how the government are taking us for fools. I mean, I think Theresa May has got a plan. I mean, the Tories have probably got a plan in place now where they think, well, if we let this drag on, we will eventually have to crash out or not, and then we'll get our Theresa May deal. Well, that's probably what she's thinking she's going to do. Then there is the Boris Johnsons and the Moggs and Farages, who probably think, well, we've got to try and position this where we crash out and have no deal at all, because that'll at least give us the starting phase. Look, the whole thing has got the EU very nervous, let me add, because they are very concerned now. I've been speaking to a couple of them, and I think where they thought we were going to be coming cup in hand, please can we have a deal, please can we, we're not actually doing that. People are getting so fed up with this that they are just saying, oh, either I don't care. But I think what would be a crisis in this country if our politicians felt it was wise to stop the Brexit process, to cancel the Brexit process. I think that would be a tragedy, and I think it would be a disaster for the country. I think it would split the country up significantly instead of bringing it together. It would. It really would. Because the EU would just have us there, and we wouldn't have a future then. It would really go one way. We would just be paying. Our hard-earned income would be going into the EU like it does at the moment. Yeah, we do get some back, but we pay more in than we get back, and we can't trade with who we want to trade with. I'm bringing stuff in from Fiji now. I've got to conform with EU regulations on certain products because of certain things being produced in Spain. which are inferior. Now, I don't, so I still trade with Fiji anyway. Why? Why would I change based on that? Because the product is better. So I will trade with Fiji, regardless of what the legislation is. But if the government, my government, made it easier for me to trade with Fiji and penalised me with less in the form of import duty, I'm even better. I'm more happy. And so is the guys in Fiji. And so is the consumers in the UK market. So, what's the problem? Anyway, that's my rant for this morning. And I'll talk to you again soon. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.